Hello everyone and welcome to my video. I'm Karas. I draw, paint and create, and today we'll be looking at how I approach a watercolor portrait study. Scared out of my mind, that's how. It gets better with time, but the fear of failing is still there. The main thing I'm explaining today is color palette, how to pick it and why, so stay tuned to find out. I decided to add real-time notes because I cut a lot of the video, I sped it up, and at the end, it seems like the effort is minimal. And it's definitely not. It's okay to put in the time, it's okay if it takes a while. Legends say that there are people who complete a painting in multiple sessions. Imagine that. You'll see the time codes as the video progresses. The sketch is pretty basic. I used my trusty colored pencils as they are not too hard, they don't scratch the paper and they get easily erased. I used 2 random shades of blue because they end up visible in the final painting and they have to fit to the overall colors, starting with the lighter shade and detailing with the darker one. I go over it quickly as I'm not interested in achieving likeness, I just need a base to put my brushes to work. When preparing a sketch for watercolor painting, try to avoid erasing as much as possible because the eraser damages the paper and the amount of water it will be able to hold will diminish. Here's a nice way to draw braids. Like everything when it comes to drawing, you have to simplify and deconstruct, starting with the general shape and then adding the smaller elements. I find it helps a lot if I think about wheat, as it's pretty similar to braids. I also use my very high quality, top shelf designer brushes, right next to my beloved watercolors, some paper towel, and a jar of water. I used masking liquid, but not to the highest of its potential as I didn't plan enough ahead. I wanted to do the pattern on her dress, but I got impatient and did a pretty bad job. I will make a video about masking liquid and talk about it and what it can do, as it's a pretty powerful tool. I promise you, what you see here, it's nothing compared to the amazing effects it can provide. Mixing the colors, it's like months of therapy. I said it before and I'll keep saying it. I still get a bit surprised when I achieve a new shade, and the satisfaction of getting the exact color is immense. Prepping all the color palette beforehand is very useful, as you'll be able to work fast, mixing the colors on paper while it's still wet. I always end up having to mix more color by the end, because I miscalculate the amount I need at the beginning, but that's an opportunity to practice my color mixing and obtaining the same shade every time. The first brush stroke is always the most difficult, at least for me. There's that nagging thought, that anxiety that says, "You'll ruin it, you loser!" But, the way I get over this is by not caring too much about the drawing part of it. If the drawing sucks, there's nothing to ruin. Before moving on, a quick question. Do you know what happens when you don't have enough light while recording? A goddamn party, that's what! My camera keeps trying to focus and auto-adjust the light levels, so if the image keeps flickering, you know why. As I said before, with this painting, I focused on color and atmosphere. First, let's talk about color. While writing the script, I was asked how I approach color, so here's my progress. First, I look at my subject. What do they express? In this case, the portrait shows a young but not naive woman, pale and beautiful, a bit mysterious. Kind, I thought she looked, from a bygone era, the kind of woman you'd find in fairy tales, fair, beautiful, and lonely. Then I mush all of these attributes into a feeling. Does the character feel warm or cold? Does she remind me of something, maybe of lush gardens or stony castles, of high windows and heavy drapes? It may sound like overthinking, but it's more like putting on an empathic attitude towards the subject, trying to feel how they would express themselves. The whole thing takes about 2 minutes, just sitting there looking at the person you're painting, trying to gather emotions and translating them into color. Still sounds complicated, yes? Hang in there, I'll explain. The main colors I used for this study are a teal green and a coppery brown, with hints of dull red and pinks. First, the greenish shade. I had a mental mood board. The castle, the garden, the nobility I talked about before. Gardens are bright with greens, but also contain stony paths, the same kind of stone the castle is made out of. So combining these two ideas together, I got this pine shade, natural and honest, but also a bit cold and distant. Incidentally, for these exact sensations, I used the same shade for the eyes as well. Then, the hair was easier. Pale princesses are usually blonde, but mine looks like there might be more to her than meets the eye, so I added a bit of burnt sienna to show her slightly fiery nature. Also, I thought it looked metallic, like bronze or copper, which, again, reminds me of nobility. The pink in her cheeks is there just for freshness and youth. The simpler way to look at this, the more analytical way, is to think of complementary colors. In this case, we have red and green, but also blue and orange, as the teal green is halfway between green and blue, and the copper is a mix of red and orange. I found that, to me, if I take the time to create a backstory and personality traits for the character I'm studying, picking colors comes a bit easier. And of course, the reference image helped a lot too, as most of these shades I used are already present in the picture. I just picked what suited me best. The final result is a bit dull and faded, which makes me think of old paintings. Definitely a win. For example, changing the colors of this portrait can send completely different messages, even if the character stays the same. Look at these examples. What do they tell you? Okay, Bibi, so look at these and tell me for each one what they tell you. Starting with the first, with the original one.
So I think the original one is a little bit, feels like she's dishonest in a way, like she's trying to portray something that she isn't. I mean, she's royalty, isn't she? She's staying like to get painted, right? I mean,
she's posing. Yes,
she's posing.
Yes. Yeah. And now for the second one.
Okay, and the second one, well, if she has red hair, then it's about erotism. Green immediately takes me to nature. I guess there's something forbidden about it, so lust.
And then the third one?
The third one is related to night and water, I guess. So it's also a very unnatural color for hair, so probably some magic in it as well. And I think the last one is like a demon or something, right? I mean, she has purple skin. I know that the color from the hair is also a little bit in the skin. It makes it look like it's not human. So there's probably something evil, and then the background is like that dirty yellow, which also makes it look like something's not right. So yeah.
Thank you. Watercolor is a wild medium, as it's so difficult to control exactly where it's going, and honestly, that's the thing I like best about it. It taught me to let go, to breathe and relax, and just go with it, to let myself be surprised with the result. It's not always ideal, but it's always a learning experience, and it leaves me with as many questions as it gives answers. I never finished a watercolor painting and went, yep, that's it. Perfection right there, no critique needed. That would be a weird day. What do you mean watercolors did as they were told? I feel like I'm trying to tame a wild horse, and we're kind of friends, but it still does whatever it wants. Like any fun and healthy friendship, I guess. I used broad strokes and plenty of water as I wanted to have it look like hair but still keep that loose and free feeling that watercolors have. The most important thing is varying and mixing the colors as much as you can, while always keeping in mind where the light is coming from, where the color is the purest, what areas are most important. Of course, the eyes could have been better, but the curse of drawing the other eye was upon me that day and I botched it a little bit. Botched. Botched? That's a weird word. Let's see what I learned during this portrait and what I'll hopefully keep in mind from now on. The drawing is important. Use bolder lines because as soon as I reached the coloring stage, they started fading from all the water and I had to kind of guess what was happening and where. Future me, please spend a bit more time on the sketch, you lazy bum. Another thing I learned is that the area where chin and neck meet is tricky and I need to look more into that as I realized I have no idea what's going on there. Put more time into details such as patterns. A delicate swirly pattern on this dress would have enhanced the delicate feeling of the painting, would have given more depth to the character. A more detailed necklace and pendant would have added to the nobility feeling. The lips could have been worked more. I wanted them to look sensual and full, now they're a bit underwhelming and boring. And the last thing, relax. It's just a study that you put on the internet, that everyone will see and judge. Which is fine because you're learning and you hope people will learn from your mistakes too. I mean, the eyes are okay, but individually, not together. Together they just look a bit odd. Let me know what you learned from this video. Really, let me know everything. Did you find this useful? Did you learn new things? Did you wonder why you're doing this to yourself, watching strangers on the internet telling you what to do? Did you find the meaning of life in a cup of coffee yet? Your comments help a ton with my content. I assure you I'm learning a lot with every video I make. I find new things to improve and you, my dearest viewer, help a lot. And if in return I get to help at least one of you, I'm happy and I'll keep doing my best. And that is it for this video. Thank you for watching and stay creative.